And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Well, the flying weather graphic for Monday morning looking pretty good here with just marginal VFR over the southern Bering Sea down to the Aleutians. Mostly VFR here over the interior there from Kenai Peninsula, Montague Island, right up to the Arctic coast. And slowly improving here over the southeast coast, but still a lot of marginal VFR. And for the afternoon, becoming all VFR over the northern panhandle with VFR breaking out all the way down to Dixon Entrance, VFR here, Kodiak Island, right up to the Brooks Range. Marginal VFR with a disturbance here coming across the north slope with an IFR band there, pretty narrow for the western Arctic coast there to about Utagavik there back toward Point Lay. But the northern Bering Sea and Bristol Bay right on down the coast, VFR, marginal VFR, central Bering Sea and the Aleutians. Tuesday morning, that system tracks eastward here, taking a band of IFR with it across the central Arctic coast Monday night. By Tuesday morning, right about in this area, good VFR over the interior, right on down to the western Gulf, Kodiak Island. And along the southwest coast, marginal VFR now showing up here over the northern Bering Sea in toward the strait. And eastern Aleutians, VFR. And the southeast coast here, again, pretty good VFR over the inside waters, a little bit of IFR there along the north coast possible, and mostly staying south of the eastern North Gulf coast. And for the afternoon, that area IFR vanishes there with just some marginal VFR, maybe around Cape St. Elias, and mostly VFR for the southeast coast. Solid VFR here from the eastern Bering Sea, eastward across the interior to Canada, and IFR possible along the Brooks Range, otherwise marginal for the north slope. And we've got marginal VFR from St. Lawrence Island, southward to the Pribilofs, down into the central and western Aleutians. And passes for tomorrow, the Brooks Range wide open, VFR for both Anatuvik and Adigan. And for the western Alaska Range, VFR, Lake Clark and Merrill, rainy, same forecast, VFR flying for Monday. Ceilings visibility is unlimited for windy. Same thing for Isabel and Mentasta. Tanita, VFR as well. And for Portage, VFR, and Chilkoot and White, VFR. And for the freezing levels here, we've got 2,000 feet all the way down to Dixon Entrance here, with the surface now down across Prince of Wales Island, eastward across the Gulf, south of Kodiak, south of the Alaska Peninsula, but north of the Aleutians, but staying south of the Pribilof Islands. Icing, not much to look at here in this graphic, at least over the interior. Maybe a little bit of elevated icing threat there for the central western Arctic coast. And the heavier icing here will be with the storminess down over the southern southeast coast. There could be some considerable moderate rime icing up over the southern quarter of the Panhandle. And the jet stream here, again, this strong Pacific jet taking the storminess mostly to the south, but far enough to the north that it'll be affecting the southern Panhandle. Otherwise, interior Alaska under the cooler northerly flow up to 60 to 80 knots. And that turns northeast right across the southeast Bering Sea into the central Aleutians. And for the 9,000 foot winds, high pressure, northern Bering Sea back out to the west there. Northeast winds here coming down across the eastern interior, right on down along the north side of the Alaska Peninsula, anywhere from 45 to 55 knots. Lighter under the trough axis, one low center here over the northern Panhandle. Stronger winds in across the Queen Charlotte Islands. 3,000 feet, narrow areas of windy conditions, 50 knots in Prince William Sound, out of the northeast, and northerlies at 45 knots there across Cook Inlet from the southern Susitna Valley that extends right on down into Shelikof Strait, and 45 knot northeast winds just south of the Yukon River, and maybe some westerlies, possibly as high as 30 knots up along the Arctic coast. Otherwise, pretty good wind conditions out over the Bering Sea and the Aleutians. And again, strongest winds down toward the Queen Charlottes. And for turbulence, look for a lot of considerable moderate mechanical turbulence here over the northern Panhandle, North Gulf Coast, Copper River Basin, right along and south of the Alaska Range there, down in toward Kodiak Island. Otherwise, possible light to isolated moderate turbulence for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast.